It's easy to get lost in the pleasure that stars give us, and forget that they are just people like us, going through hard times and heartaches. Fans were shocked when Ron Howard, a beloved director and former star, recently told them some terrible new facts. As someone who has spent decades making films that people will never forget, it's easy to forget about the personal problems he has been having. In this video, we'll talk about Ron Howard's sad news and the problems he's had to deal with behind the scenes. Ron Howard's rise in the entertainment business is a story of ability, hard work, and change. Howard was born on March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma. He has been involved with playing in movies since he was very young. Ron's parents, Rance Howard and Jean Spiegel, both worked in show business, which paved the way for his future job. His ancestors came from many places in Europe, and Howard has German, English, Scottish, Irish, and Dutch roots. This varied background may have helped him be flexible and appealing to a wide range of people, as both an actor and a director. Howard wasn't always Howard, which is interesting. His dad was born with the last name Beckenholt, but in 1948 he changed it to Howard as his stage name. This choice would shape the family's identity for years to come. Ron's early life was shaped by the fact that his father was in the U.S. Air Force. His time in the service may have given him the discipline and work ethic that would help him in his future job. Howard's education as a child was a mix of regular training and one-on-one tutoring. He went to regular schools in Burbank, California, like Robert Louis Stevenson Elementary and David Starr Jordan Junior High. He graduated from John Burroughs High School in the end, but he also had tutoring sessions at Desilu Studios as part of his education. This shows the difficult balance he had to find between his acting job and his schoolwork. Howard went to the School of Cinematic Arts at the University of Southern California, but he didn't finish his degree. Instead, he chose to learn his craft by working in the business. In 1959, Ron Howard got his big break as an actor when he got his first creditable part in the movie The Journey. After that, he was in a number of TV shows, showing how versatile he was as a young actor. He played parts in well-known TV shows like The Twilight Zone, Dennis the Menace, and The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. Howard learnt more about the business and gained experience through these early shows. Howard's big break came when he played Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show. They became famous all over the world. Howard played Opie on the show for all 8 seasons, starting in 1960. The public saw him grow up on the show. People felt nostalgic and at ease watching the show because it had a good old-fashioned feel that was very different from the turbulent 1960s. Howard learnt a lot from his time on The Andy Griffith Show. During his very first day on set, when he was only 5 years old, he had to act like a toy turtle was a real dead turtle. Howard learnt early on in his career how to successfully play something that isn't real. This skill would help him throughout his career. Howard changed into teenage parts as he got older. Because he was in an episode of Love, American Style, he was cast as Richie Cunningham on Happy Days. Howard became a teen idol thanks to this part, which he played from 1974 to 1980. Henry Winkler's rebellious Fonzie was a great contrast to Howard's clean-cut Richie, and the two actors' roles would define the show. While he was on Happy Days, Howard kept getting movie parts. He played Winthrop Peru, a boy with a lisp, in the 1962 movie version of The Music Man. The movie did well at the box office and with critics. It was nominated for 6 Academy Awards. Howard's range as a young actor was also shown in The Courtship of Eddie's Father, which came out in 1963. Howard played Steve Bolander in George Lucas's 1973 movie American Graffiti, which was one of his most important movie parts. The movie was a coming-of-age story that both audiences and reviews liked. Roger Ebert said that the movie was not only great, but also a great history fantasy story. Howard's role in American Graffiti helped him get the part he had in Happy Days. Since the show was based on the movie, Howard continued to balance his work on TV with parts in films throughout the 1970s. He was in The Waltons, and acted in The Shootist with John Wayne. Howard was able to improve as an actor and learn how to work in a variety of genres and formats thanks to these different parts. As the 1970s came to an end, Ron Howard's goals began to change. He thought that directing would be a good change after years of being in front of the camera. He had a unique understanding of how films are made because he had been an actor, and he was excited to get behind the camera and use what he had learnt. The next part of Howard's work would be very different, and it would lead to him becoming one of the most respected directors in Hollywood. But that big step into the director's chair came with duties and stress that he hadn't planned for. When Ron Howard switched from acting to directing, it was a big turning point in his career. It set the stage for him to become one of the most respected directors in Hollywood. It wasn't just a change in job title. Howard's way of sharing stories and his place in the entertainment business changed a lot because of it. Howard's first movie as a director was the low-budget comedy action movie Grand Theft Auto, which came out in 1977. Because of a deal with Roger Corman, the famous producer who is known for giving many future stars and directors their first big breaks, this chance came up. The plan was easy, but it worked. Howard agreed to be in Corman's movie Eat My Dust, in exchange for the chance to make his own movie. It was typical of Corman to work with new artists in this way, and Howard learned a lot about making films from this experience. Grand Theft Auto was made by a family. Howard and his father Rance wrote the story together. The fact that Howard could rely on his father's knowledge and support during this project probably made him feel safe as he went into new territory. Even though the film was small in size and cost, Howard learned a lot from it. It was his first taste of the difficulties and rewards of directing. Howard did try his hand at directing again after this, but he didn't give up playing right away. He did not choose one over the other. From 1978 to 1982, he directed several TV films for NBC, while also continuing to act on Happy Days. This time was like an internship for Howard. It gave him a chance to improve his directing skills in a more relaxed setting than films. The 1980 TV movie Skyward, which stars the legendary Bette Davis, was one of the most important works from this time. Howard must have felt both scared and enlightened to work with such a well-known and respected actor so early in his career as a director. He probably learned a lot about how to direct experienced actors and deal with the dynamics of the set. Howard's big break as a director came in 1982 with the comedy Night Shift, which starred Michael Keaton, Shelley Long, and Henry Winkler, who was also in Howard's Happy Days. Howard's first movie as a director of a full-length movie set the stage for his future success. Howard was able to take on bigger and more challenging projects after the movie got good reviews. Once Night Shift was over, Howard's work as a director really took off. He directed the fantasy romance comedy Splash in 1984. It starred Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah, Eugene Levy, and John Candy. The movie did well at the box office and with critics, proving Howard's skills as a director worthy of leading big Hollywood projects. The movie's mix of comedy, romance, and magic showed how versatile Howard is as a director and how well he can handle complicated plots and special effects. Howard's next big hit was Cocoon, a science fiction comedy drama released in 1985. It starred a group of experienced actors, such as Donna Mesh, Wilford Brimley, and Brian Dennehy. The movie did well at the box office and with critics to Howard. Donna Mesh won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in the movie. This added to Howard's image as a director who could get his actors to give great performances. Howard worked with George Lucas again in 1988 on the high fantasy adventure film Willow. Lucas had directed Howard in American Graffiti. Howard's past work was very different from this project, which showed that he could handle big productions with lots of effects. When Willow first came out, it got mixed reviews, but it now has a cult following and shows that Howard is willing to work on a wide range of difficult projects. Howard ended the 1980s with the family comedy Parenthood, which starred Steve Martin, Mary Steenburgen, Diane Weist, and a young Joaquin Phoenix, among other big names. The movie did well at the box office and with critics. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards and made over $100 million in the United States. Howard kept taking on more and more different and difficult projects as his work as a director grew. His 2013 movie Rush was a sports drama based on the real-life feud between James Hunt and Niki Lauda, 2 Formula One drivers. The movie, which stars Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, got good reviews at its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. Howard wrote another historical play in 2015 called In the Heart of the Sea. It was about the sinking of the American whaling ship Essex in 1820, which was the basis for Herman Melville's book Moby Dick. Even though stars like Chris Hemsworth and Cillian Murphy gave great performances, the movie did poorly at the box office and got mixed reviews. Howard's most well-known job as a director was when he took over Solo, a Star Wars story, in 2017. Howard was hired to take over for Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who had quit as directors because they didn't agree with Lucasfilm's creative direction. Howard had to deal with the difficult situation of joining a production that was already going on and meeting the needs of both the company and the devoted Star Wars fans. Even though the production was not going smoothly, Howard was excited about the job and thankful for the chance to add to the Star Wars world. Many good things happened in Howard's work life, but there were also some hard times in his personal life. He felt the stresses of fame from when he was young and was on the Andy Griffith Show and Happy Days. These stresses stayed with him throughout his work. Going from being a child star to an adult actor and then to a director came with its own hurdles and hopes. Though Howard's job as a director was going well, the expectations of the business started to hurt his personal life. The constant push to make hits and the long hours and intense focus needed to direct big Hollywood films started to put a strain on his relationships, especially with his family. Howard was stuck in a loop of work that would not stop. He was always trying to get the next big thing, even if it meant putting his own health and family time last. In the end, this imbalance caused Howard to have a mental breakdown. Despite his professional successes, including critical praise, box office hits and awards, he knew he was failing at being a husband and father, which were the roles that meant the most to him. This realization woke Howard up and made him face the real cost of his success. It also made him rethink his goals. Howard decided to change how he did things in both his personal and professional life after a deep moment of self-reflection. He knew that his work success could not make up for the fact that he no longer had close relationships with his family and friends. Howard made a conscious effort to rebalance his life after this finding. He made sure that his family always came first while still pursuing his passion for filmmaking. He didn't have to give up his job because of this change in perspective. Instead, he had to find a way to balance his professional goals with his personal values. Howard learned to set limits, be more present with his family, and put the relationships that gave his life value outside of his job in the entertainment business first. On the other hand, something else has been weighing on the tale in the background. Ron Howard has a very close relationship with his younger brother Clint Howard, which is hidden by his fame and success. This friendship, which began when both were child stars and has grown stronger over the years through shared experiences, is now facing its toughest test yet. Just like his bigger brother, Clint Howard got into the entertainment business when he was young. Clint made a name for himself, while Ron's star rose to great heights, becoming a well-liked character actor known for his unique style and memorable roles. During their jobs, the Howard brothers have stayed close, supporting each other's goals and talking about the good and bad parts of being famous. Ron has often talked about how important his relationship with Clint is. Though growing up in the show business can be lonely at times, the Howard brothers were able to through it together. Ron often says that Clint keeps him grounded by reminding him of where they both come from and how important family is in the crazy world of Hollywood. A steady presence in a world that is always changing, Clint has been Ron's support in many ways. Even though Ron became famous as a director very quickly, he has always looked to Clint for ideas and motivation. Ron has always admired Clint's ability to stay true to himself and his acting style, even when the business put pressure on him to do otherwise. Their relationship goes beyond their work. The brothers have been there for each other through good times and bad, enjoying each other's wins and helping each other through tough times. Their relationship has been built on this shared support system, which has helped them get through the rough times that come with being famous. Now, the strength of this brotherly bond is being put to the final test as Clint's health gets worse. Ron finds himself in a position he didn't expect. He is now the worried brother of a person who has been his longest friend and confidant. Since it was recently revealed that Clint Howard is very sick, it has cast a dark shadow over his family. Ron has been open about how this situation has made him and his family feel in a rare moment of weakness. The person who has directed many stories of people overcoming hardships is now in the middle of a real-life drama that might not have a happy finish. The specifics of Clint's sickness are still being kept secret, but it has been called crippling and life-changing. This is a very sad truth for a man who has spent his whole life making other people happy through his performances. Ron talks about how hard it is for him to see his healthy, active brother dealing with serious health problems. This has really affected Ron. There are effects of Clint's illness that go far beyond his body. Ron talks about a deep sense of helplessness that he is not used to feeling because he is used to fixing problems on and off the set. Ron is used to being in charge of his projects as a director, carefully planning each scene to tell an interesting story, but in this real-life situation, he is just a bystander and can't yell, cut, or start over the scene. Ron has had to face his weaknesses and fears because of this situation. The thought of losing Clint has made me realize how fragile life is and how important it is to have close relationships. Ron says that they have spent sleepless nights thinking about memories they both have, from when they were kid actors to more recent times they worked together on film sets. These memories used to make me happy and nostalgic, but now they make me feel sad because I don't know what the future holds. The Howard family's strength is clear in how they've come together to help Clint through this tough time. Ron talks about a renewed sense of togetherness among family members who put aside their own problems to help and comfort each other. Even though things are very bad, Ron is still positive. He talks about how Clint's strength and determination have helped him throughout his life and work. Ron's request for privacy during this tough time isn't just to keep the public from seeing his family. It's an acknowledgement that getting better and coping take time and space, away from the constant light of attention. Ron also wants to show that he respects Clint's privacy by making this request. He wants his brother's problem to stay private and not be made public. Ron thinks about the lessons he has learnt from Clint over the years as the Howard family goes through this hard time. When it comes to finding humor in tough situations, Clint's honesty and his strength in the face of challenges have always been things that Ron looks up to. These traits are a light for Ron and his family, helping them stay strong in hopeful times like these. Ron has also had to rethink his goals because of the current health crisis. He still loves making films, but he says he is putting more emphasis on family and interactions with other people. This new way of looking at things will probably affect his future work. He might write stories about family ties, strength, and the success of the human spirit, all of which are things that are more important to him now than they ever were. What do you like most about Ron Howard? Please tell us in the comments. Don't forget to like and follow this station to get more videos.